Welcome everybody to Strike Team Gaming presents G4 Experience. Welcome to another lovely Friday pre-scheduled episode. Thank you all for returning. I hope you had a happy and healthy week. Today we're going to be talking about Halo and the franchise thereof. If you're wondering why today's episode, as well as some of the past episodes, are a little more fast-paced, we're in the room live right next to one another. Let me introduce who those one anoters are.
I'm Irishguy, a.k.a. Mike.
And I am Doc.
And I am Zmainia.
Welcome everybody to the show. We're going to go ahead and let one of the two people who wanted to talk about this topic introduce what we're talking about.
Oh, calm down. Calm down.
Are you not excited about this topic?
Right?
Oh, Jesus Christ, just fucking introduce it.
Oh, if we were talking about Gears of War, though.
No.
No?
No. Try again.
That fire died inside of you?
I never had a fire for that game. Armando did. Anyway, we're talking about Halo. We're going to talk about it in chronological order. We're going to detail what was so great about it, whether or not there was a multiplayer cooperative aspect to it. Halfway through, we'll take our anchor break, see how that sounds when we do it, and then, of course, just kind of see where the episode takes us.
Yeah.
Before we start, does anybody have anything preliminary about Halo what really excites them about the franchise? Do they have any lovely stories that they want to talk about? Just preliminary before we get started on individual games.
Yeah, I always liked the campaign, but my first experience with Halo, which really set me off in the direction of loving it until more recently, but we'll get into that later, was playing multiplayer at my friend's house because he had an Xbox. And
I feel left out.
Oh man, it was pretty fun. I got my butt kicked, but I learned, and I eventually got to the point where I was beating your brother's butt. Yeah, Jeremy, this is a call out for you and your inept Winky.
You know, he does minimalist when it comes to any social media about anything.
yeah. See, I could be tough. He's not going to respond.
Spotify and the art of podcasting will die. Then he'll think about listening to the podcast.
Yeah, and then he'll download Spotify like he did with that Xbox One of his.
Yeah, exactly.
I heard it finally died recently.
We won't talk about it. Anybody else got anything preliminary?
I mean, me and Mike have like stories for days, though. That's the thing.
We'll probably delve into.
Look, see, now everybody can see you.
we'll delve into Team Pink Eye, and it'll be Zach's first time hearing about it.
Oh,
well, I mean, unless he's a standard listener.
Unless he listened to I don't even remember.
Oh yeah, but for the experience and for you, the viewers, I'm gonna pretend like I didn't see that specific episode, even though I watched it like 5 times. Let's be honest.
Also, as you can tell, we are now streaming. We will be doing our. You can get a early
we're
review.
Recording. At least as of right now, we're recording.
Yeah, this episode
and video will be posted to YouTube under the same name, the G4 Experience.
Yep. So you can either follow us you can follow us on all their platforms now. If you want to catch a live feed, maybe chat with us through YouTube, or you can listen to the podcast like you've been doing. We appreciate both. Both helps us. Actually, everything helps us continue going.
Yeah.
So.
If you're enjoying it, hit that follow, like, and/or subscribe button.
Exactly.
Insert graphic here.
What am I even doing here?
Being pretty.
You guys got. I don't know about that. You guys got this down pat.
Because we have your name there.
My name.
Hey, right there.
There you go.
See, look, right there.
I did that for you. I'll make a PowerPoint that we could have full screen going just for you guys.
But
that would actually be cool. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, no, I mean the first memory of Halo franchise was Halo 2 for me. And I just remember Big Gulch, or was it
Blood Gulch?
Blood Gulch, yeah. And then what kind of like really, like I remember us just playing Landline, and then I think that was the first one that really took off live was Halo 2 on Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah,
because Halo 1 was only local, and so because I remember I have a couple of friends that were, when he was in college, he would tell me like we'd have the big LAN parties and stuff like that, and how the pistol was like the weapon to use.
Oh, yeah.
in Halo 1. I was like, damn, I wish they had that still in this in Halo 2.
Right.
But yeah, no, I mean, I love the game. Happy to talk about it.
For context, mine was Halo Combat Evolved. I didn't think to actually specify which one.
Ah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I played the original because I didn't have an Xbox, and
To not interrupt you, I actually think the first one was actually PC based. That's the reason why I don't
didn't
think
have
it
a
was.
computer back then.
I'm actually looking that up
Because
right now.
it was the game that basically made the Xbox original. It was what they shipped with it at launch. It was their
Okay.
It was their flagship game. Yeah.
Yeah, so it initially released on Xbox November 15th, 2001, and then there was a version of it released on Windows and Macintosh on 2003.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Okay.
Are we talking about Halo Combat Evolved?
Yeah, we're talking about the
Specifically.
first one, yeah.
And of course, before even the games, there was the book series, which if you like reading and you like Halo,
Readings for
Check it
rich
out.
people.
Free for rich people.
I read, but I'm not rich. Steal
Anyway,
books,
moving on.
You
don't
got
steal
a rich soul.
So what was your
Yeah.
first interaction, David, with it?
Man, we're just doing this all kitty wampus. I didn't even get to introduce the first one. It's all right. It's fine.
Well, no. We talked about, like, what was our first?
We're talking about the first interaction
with
with
the
the
game.
game.
Yeah.
series
So
in general.
when I was younger, my father,
Used to beat me.
Loved you.
he couldn't have beat both of us. Anyway, my father, when me and my younger brother moved into his place when we were younger, we had one of the first Christmases he did. He got us an Xbox.
Oh, nice.
With the Duke and the original Halo Combat Evolved. No. When I was living with my mother at the time, one of her roommates had an original Xbox, and he introduced us to Halo. And of course, like any kid, like, oh my god, this is the best thing ever.
Because it was.
Yeah. So he let us play for a little bit, and then that's when I convinced my father when we moved in with him to, can we get this console?
Yeah.
Jeremy and I spent a hot majority of time playing the first one, and just subsequently, for us, it was one of the better sci-fi stories that wasn't too like nerdy.
Gotcha.
Like, because like everyone asks, like, as far as nerd is concerned,
Yeah.
Star Trek is like out there as nerdy as it comes. Star Wars is a little more acceptable because you got Jedi Knights, and it's a little more appealing because of like the combat and everything.
Yeah.
And then
with the
StarCraft.
Well, I was just like going backwards. Like for us, Halo was that sci-fi we can get introduced to sci-fi, and not be overwhelmed by what would be considered nerdy. And just from there, we've been fans ever since. And I think a lot of it is what was going on towards the end of his story, and we just kept playing from there.
Gotcha.
That was my bedtime reminder, by the way, that you just saw.
I didn't see it, but okay.
So now
Go ahead and introduce.
we're gonna go ahead and go in order here, base by game. We're gonna talk about it and see what everybody remembers and your fond memory of it, and whatever you have to say on it. But the first one's gonna be Halo Combat Evolved, released in November 15th, 2001. It was also known as Halo CE. It was a first-person shooter developed by Bungie and published by Microsoft Game Studios. Right now, as it stands, it has a Google score of 96%. This pretty much was the penultimate of anything Halo related. When you think of Halo, this is the first one anybody should have played. And it had the game itself had hints of there was stuff that happened before. But as far as a starting point, this is where we're introduced to John 117. This is where we're introduced to the first Halo ring. This story was pretty detailed, pretty impactful, and a lot. And this is the game that put Xbox on the map as far as consoles were concerned. So does anybody have anything that they wanted to start off with? Fond memories?
I have not played this one. At least I don't think. No. I did.
We're gonna have to help fix this.
I've played Halo 2 and on, but I didn't have an Xbox. I didn't have any friends at the time that had an Xbox. I have actually played it with the Master Chief Collection,
Okay.
Okay.
but I don't
Think
I don't have a lot of memories like I do with Halo 2 and 3.
If you download it on your new PC, I'll play it with you.
Okay.
It's pretty fun. I mean,
I gotta re-download Steam.
yeah.
It's
Or-
on Xbox Game Pass.
I don't have Xbox Game Pass.
He plays Fortnite.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's almost as bad as a virus like AOL. All these young generations who don't know what AOL
Dude,
and
so-
AOL
I
chat.
have an AOL still.
I still do too.
Yeah.
So funny story. So when I still worked with David, one of the clerical girls was there, and the person was given their information, and their email was at AOL, and I'm like, oh man, that's old. And she's like, what's AOL?
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, America Online, you know, the little disc that you can get 1,000 free hours on because you could only have, or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Skype before Skype, kind of.
Yeah,
Right.
and then there's like, I'm like, AIM.
Yeah.
You remember that? But yeah,
It just, you started naming
it just made me feel really, really
Remember
old.
when somebody would get a phone call and then knock you off your internet browser?
Get off the
My
phone!
email.
I'm playing a game.
I was chatting with someone.
So fast forwarding 20 years to 2001.
I mean,
I'm
but
not that old.
Great game.
Halo didn't come out in 2001.
Yeah, it did.
November 15th.
November
Halo
15,
1.
2001.
Don't even give me that.
Wait a second.
Wait a second.
That was a fun game. I greatly enjoyed playing it. It was pretty tough at the time. I didn't beat it on Legend or the hardest difficulty Legendary back then. It wasn't until I came back on the Master Chief Collection that I was actually able to conquer that. A lot of fun. I had a lot of fun playing with my neighbors at the time. But Halo 2 is the first game I actually ever bought, and Halo 3, which when we get to that, is where I truly took off with the game.
Yeah.
Same.
Halo 1, I do remember playing it with my brother-in-law when he was younger. They had the Xbox, and he had pretty much beaten it already on hard and all that stuff. And so Halo was the first we played it on the hardest
On Legendary.
Yeah.
on Legendary. And so if I remember correctly, the checkpoints in that game are so far apart.
They really are.
And
Mostly.
and so to actually beat that on their Legendary settings, we were working our way through it. And oh man, I remember that because that kind of like threw my crave, started to get me to start playing on Legendary on all the Halos.
Yeah.
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 I always made it a tradition after Halo 3 to like not stop playing the campaigns until I ran through it on the Legendary
Exactly,
difficulty.
yeah.
Usually heroic
Yeah.
first, but by the time 4 came out, it was just hit straight on Legendary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, the next one on the list in chronological order is going to be Halo 2. This released November 9th, 2004. This was one of the first games that featured online multiplayer, and as it stands right now, it also has a 96% on Google rating. If anybody remembers anything about this game, this is the one where, first off, storyline. It's come to Earth. The aliens know where Earth is, and they're attacking Earth in a big way. We're also introduced to the Flood, also coming to Earth and infecting their Earth with the Flood virus as well, or parasite, whatever it was called. It also debuted a lot of dual wielding and the brutes as far as two different gameplay mechanics that people weren't used to from the game previous. This is also the first time you played the Covenant side of things with the story arc, as you play the Arbiter, whose I guess, one of the many gold elites that you ran into in the original Halo. And this is he always survived.
Yeah, he was a ship captain in charge of defending the Halo in which we destroyed, or Master Chief 117 destroyed in the first Halo. And originally, I think he was going to be like sentenced to death, but they decided to make him the Arbiter.
Yeah, so they shamed him.
Yeah.
And he's forced to work to reclaim his honor or whatever have you. So this was the first time we got dual storyline in the side of the humans and the Covenant. First time for multiplayer, brutes, different enemy archetypes, dual wielding as well. Multiplayer mode that was online. I mean, I think this is where multiplayer really started to take off because Halo 2, this was before any Call of Duty.
Yeah, Halo 2, when it first came to Xbox Live, because that was their really big push, and I remember the commercials for it and stuff like that, and this was the thing, I think, that made Xbox what Xbox is. This game, because I think they maybe had like 1 or 2 games before this, but Halo is the game that pushed it over the edge for Xbox. And because I remember that, because that was the one thing that I remember was like me and my brother-in-law, we both made sure we had Xbox Live accounts. He had his Xbox in the front room. I had my Xbox in the bedroom, and we're sitting here playing. And, you know, I remember having the headphones and everything, and that's just playing. And that's what we did with this game. And then, like, with us, we started doing the same thing where Halo 2 just kind of, like, took off. We're just playing all these games and stuff like that.
I didn't get into Halo 2 until
I
think it was right around when, like, within 6 months of Halo 3 coming out. Because, like, I forget, I think I went over to your guys' apartment or something, and you're like, yeah, let's jump on. So I'm like, okay, I've never played this game. What is it? I've heard of it, but not seen it or anything.
I think this was
It's a gateway video game.
Twitch wasn't a thing.
Yeah. I think this was one of the first ones you could have played 2 people online. I can't remember. I know there was one.
Because Halo 1 had co-op for the story.
But I think this one, I think it had split screen, or I jumped on.
This one had 4-player, I think, right? Because you had the...
No, I think that was 3.
Was it?
I don't remember. Anyway.
Oh, yeah.
But I remember going over, and then maybe it was with the other roommates that I had. No, I don't know.
Right.
Anyway.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
But I remember going in and then playing like a game of Shoddy Snipers on. I want to say it was like one that was inside of a ship. I don't remember the name of the level. And I was just running around and shooting people in the face with a shotgun.
A lot of fun. I love doing that on Halo 3, but we'll get to that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think Halo 2 is one of the... I think this is the one game that actually the servers for it were up for so long that, like, people were trying to keep the servers up for they wouldn't take it down. And it... Like, there was people... Like, they forced people out of the servers to shut it down.
I wanted to touch on that because I had 2 other things. One being that I think it was 2016 is when the final server of it went down. The final, because they had like a game running or something like that. I'm not 100% sure on the date. I think it was about to 2016.
Yeah, because I know it was after Halo 4.
Yeah,
and I think it might have been starting to come towards like Halo 5 or
Exactly. And then the other thing is my sentiment or sentimental connection to Halo 2 is back at that time, my dad was working like 6 days a week, 10, 12 hours on it. Like, and that's assuming he got a day off.
Yeah.
Usually, more often than not, 3 out of 4 weeks in the month, he was working like practically 7 days. So one of the very few times I got to actually spend some time hanging out with him was, or we went to, I think the mall to get something, and we passed GameStop, and Halo 2 had just came out. And he's like, hey, you can get one game, whatever you want, to celebrate basically us actually being able to spend some time together. And I chose Halo 2. And so I've always remembered that. And yeah.
Okay, so I just looked it up real quick. And I just Googled Halo 2 server shutdown, and it says
Mike,
It's
talk in the mic.
it's the end. It's the end of an era for an older generation. Halo Games 343 Studios has announced they will be shutting down multiplayer servers for Xbox 360 Halo games at the end of 2021.
Wow.
So I don't know if that is including. It was solidified.
No, I think that's the
That might
older-
be-
It might be the Master Chief.
Yeah, I was about to say.
collection.
Yeah.
The 2016 rough estimate is for the original Xbox, the Xbox original servers.
All right, here we go.
Yeah.
February 15th, 2013.
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds about right. So that was just after Halo 4
Yeah.
during the time of Halo Spartan.
3 was 2008, I think.
Yeah. Well, we're going to let David continue on letting us know when the next Halo came out. Go ahead.
Well, I didn't want to interrupt you guys. You're doing such an awesome job. So the next one on the list is Halo 3. This debuted September 25th, 2007, and right now sits with a 4.4 out of 5 on GameStop. This was the first. This is when the console wars really started to pick up, because you could really tell when PlayStation was like, "Hold on, can't let you guys hit the floor running."
Mm-hmm.
They're an
And-
actual threat.
And this is when the Xbox 360 started to debut, because Halo 3 was one of the first few video games that debuted on the Xbox 360. This was supposed to be the conclusion to the story of Master Chief and all the Covenant fighting and everything, and so Parasite Flood War on Earth, as well as a multitude of other storylines that had come to a conclusion as well. It featured Bungie really doubled down on Halo 2's multiplayer experience with Halo 3, and this is where people went hardcore playing multiplayer. It featured the first time where DLC was actually a part of any multiplayer experience, when it released up to 6 DLC packs, for map packs just for the multiplayer alone, skin packs. This is where you could start playing multiplayer and unlocking different armor customizations.
I still have that disc.
If
That has
Halo had a multiplayer that was worth playing, it was Halo 3 at this time.
Oh yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
not only that, though. This was the first time they released Forged, to where the map making.
Where you can go in and
Yeah.
That was really cool.
And this was, I think this was around the same time of Far Cry Predators, which kind of had a map making option too.
yeah.
And so I don't know which one came first, but I remember the Forge. I remember, like, during that time, they really started opening up. A lot of the games started doing, like, custom maps to where you can change certain things, you can add certain things. And I remember as soon as the Forge opened up, I remember the one game we liked playing was someone created soccer with the grab hammers.
Griffball.
Yeah, Griffball. Oh man, that game was freaking awesome.
Right.
Or Infected, and that was like, because I remember when we first came out, was like, oh, you died. All right, now you have to get this, and then then Bungie actually started listening to the community, and they made,
An official Griffball.
And
official
zombies,
Griffball, official zombies,
A few other
Yeah.
ones off. I can't.
sniper
think of them.
shotties.
Yeah.
It was. Oh man, I love that.
Oh yeah.
It became one of the biggest, like, pretty much the biggest first-person shooter sandbox game.
Yeah.
On consoles, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and that was the other thing, was that with us too, it was like we felt like a company listening to us, because a lot of these were custom games that the community created, and then within a couple months, Bungie's like, here, we're releasing this update that all those things that you've been playing, those custom games, they're available now.
Yeah, you guys are so awesome. We're going to listen to you, and we're going to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah.
And this is one that I remember the campaign. Ronnie and I ran through.
Oh.
this. We ran through it together on Legendary, and then it's like, oh, you need, like, we went and collected all the skulls.
So this is the one thing of previous conversation of where David was really upset because he wasn't included.
It was before we knew him.
He was a baby at the time. Were you?
It's past my bedtime.
Yeah, this was one of the games that like I have played this game the most out of all the Halos. I have ran through the story. For me, I like my first gameplay is either on easy or normal because I just like learning the game, learning the pace, learning the maps and everything, and then I start stepping it up. Yeah. And most of the time, I step it up to either hard or legendary after I run through it.
Yeah, you figure out what you need to do on easy or normal.
Yeah.
And then
get your butt whooped when you first go in. Like, oh, God, my health goes down that fast.
Yeah.
And then you're there.
Well, and that's the other thing is because some of the skulls you can't find unless you're on hard or legendary.
Yeah.
So that was the thing was like, okay, I'm just like looking, and this was like kind of the topic of walkthrough guides and stuff like that. Yeah. Was like, I remember going on game FAQ to learn a lot of these things.
I haven't heard that name in a long
time.
time.
I was going to mention this last week on our last recording, but game FAQ, don't go there now. Don't. It is a adult site, or it has adult stuff on it.
So. Not safe for work or people too young.
Exactly.
18 or 17 and younger.
Yeah. But yeah, so I remember like going through, so I learned how to do the fourth, or no, I think it's the fifth ring, or the fifth skull, where you have to go to a level, you have to jump through all the rings, you have to do.
Your daddy, but the dog beat me over the
fence. Yep. Yeah, because you have to jump through the rings, you have to find the sequence, and then you have to go back and jump through some of the other ones, jump through the other way. It was
a
yeah, and so like,
but it was worth it.
Oh, you know, there's like whenever my friends, I had a friend who was an achievement whore, and so
Wolf.
No, Irwo.
Oh, Irwo, yeah.
Yeah, Irwo. So this game, he's like, once he found out that I've ran through the whole game and I've taken several people through, he's like, all right, we got to do this. I was like, all right. So we got all the skulls, for him. I've ran through the final level with the ghost.
I know just you and I alone, because
yeah,
we always had to have a squad of 4.
Yeah, you've always been the squad of 4. I've probably ran through that about 3 to 4 times to get the achievement for people.
God. I mean, I liked the last episode. It was just, running through it with other people, exhausting after a certain point in time, especially if they're not that good.
Well, especially when you're trying to get achievements that make you restart the whole damn thing over again because they died.
Yeah.
Iron was fun. What are you talking about?
It was awesome.
But yeah, one thing I always remember with this, at least with the multiplayer, is we always activate the skull that was. Yeah, I know you're not talking at all, David. But anyway, I forget.
It's just nice to hear you talk about a game you've actually played.
Yeah,
I know. Look at the reaction off of his face.
I was just like so surprised, like, oh my God, you have something relatable to this story.
To make a grown man cry.
God damn it. But yeah, anyway, I remember now. The skull that we would activate would be when, I forgot what they're called, the little gnome looking
birthday
dude.
Party?
The birthday party.
The birthday party we always had that one.
That, and I would have been your daddy.
Yep. Those ones are
Which
always
one was that? Would have been your daddy.
That added extra voice lines, like what was it? The brute's dying, and then another one to yell, "My lover," or stuff like that.
It was so hilarious to hear those, or the gee.
Yeah, that was the best.
And the grunts did explosive damage. So if you had cowbell on, it would actually hurt people.
Yeah, it was.
Oh yeah, we always there were certain ones we always had on. I think cowbell was one of them.
The one challenge I did hate was running through the game blind. That was like
no HUD
fog.
No HUD.
Oh.
Yeah, I think. Oh no, fog was the no radar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, no, running through with no HUD, and it was just like
that might have been the fog one because the radar is part of the heads-up display. I think.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Whichever one that one was, it was fun.
I'm sorry. Did you say HUD instead of HUD?
Yeah.
You fucking heathen.
Well,
man, I want to get one of those in real life. I know it's digressing, but we all wear glasses,
right?
And like Google Glass, where are you?
Dude, they were almost there. They were
really
almost there.
They actually exist.
Well, I just gotta say these are just blue light glasses. Sorry, these are just blue light glasses. My actual glasses come in on Monday.
You could still do it on regular glasses.
Do what?
I've seen someone
Heads
convert
up
them.
display.
Oh,
yeah, it's just not a prescription lens.
Yeah.
But I digress. Halo 3, really, really cool stuff. Yeah, that was when I first started getting on the Xbox Live. And I Team SWATs was my ranked playlist. Like I couldn't get to level 30 though. Every time I got to like 29, I'd get terrible teammates and just like tryhards like just destroying me, and I gave up.
I think the two achievements that I wasn't able to get on that were the online play ones. The one running over somebody with the mongoose, and there was another one. But I've pretty much gotten all the achievements on that game.
Did you get I think it's 10 kills with a sword in free-for-all or something?
Yeah,
like
I've gotten that one. Yeah.
That one had my heart pumping so hard. I had a bit of anxiety when I first started playing because, like, first time playing with other people, and it was just crazy. But that was so much fun.
Well, and also like with Halo 3. See, this is the thing: is Halo 3 was like revolutionary. Yeah, because not only that was that. Then they added the replay and the
theater
mode
Yeah.
to where you can go back and watch your game or watch your kill, whatever. That was like for a console.
Yeah.
Like I remember one shot my brother-in-law did. It was a ricochet off of a ricochet to a headshot in the oh gosh, what was it? It's the rolling one.
Mm-hmm. The wheel.
Yeah, the wheel. So he had like a ricochet. It bounced off of a cone and bounced off something else and headshotted a guy.
That's pretty good.
I was just like
so pissed if I was that guy and went back to that replay.
I was like, so this was Mike. So this is when he was younger.
Yeah.
And I was just like, he showed me it. I was like, what the hell? And it's just a perfect circumstance with that.
Right.
And
Yeah.
it was awesome.
And then also my favorite memory, Team Pink Guy.
Oh, yeah, our Team P guy.
Have you heard the story?
Go ahead and tell them the story.
You told me that you guys going to mention it.
Okay.
And so I have to be surprised, so I don't know what this is.
Okay. So Team Pink Guy was back in the day. Ronnie and I, when we were roommates back in the early 2000s.
No, this was actually
These
was pre roommates. So this is when we lived off of Corler.
Yeah.
You lived with
I lived with
Matt
and
the other two
couple.
people.
Yeah.
And me and my wife lived together in an apartment, and because I remember, because this is when I actually had a decent big screen TV.
Big Bertha.
No, you guys had Big Bertha. Or no,
No, you had Big Bertha there.
yeah.
Because it went to our next apartment too.
Well, either way, I digress.
So we would get into big team battle, and it's 12 versus 12.
No, it
or-
was 6. It was 8 versus 8.
8 versus 8.
Yeah.
Okay. So all of us would have the same logo, all 8 of us.
Which was the crosshairs with the circle.
It was the cog, the crosshairs, and the sprocket. And one it was white and pink. I don't remember. What
No. It had the bullseye, because the center of the bullseye, actually, you can change the color of the bullseye.
Well. Anyway, that's besides the point. So our logo was like a pink thing, and so we call it. And we made our clan tag PNKI for pink eye. But we would go into the 8 versus 8 with 9 or 10 people. So we would always have at least one other guy on the other team. And they would, if we had 2 people, one of them would immediately jump in the Banshee, and the other one would jump in the driver's seat of the Warthog and drive it over to us. And then the guy in the Banshee would fly it over to us and get out and give us the Banshee, so we'd get that. And then the guy that was driving the Warthog would stay as the driver, because he could see where his teammates were.
That's genius.
And they would drive
Back when they played
our guy would
games,
jump in the gunner seat and just kill everybody.
Well, we had to always do custom games because of that, because we were a big team.
Yeah.
We had to do custom games because we had more people. There's been a few times where we played.
No, that was public lobbies.
No, because,
No. So you had the ranked lobbies, and then you had the custom public lobbies.
Yeah, it was big team battle public lobbies, not ranked.
Yeah.
Yeah, not ranked. Because I was about to say, my best game and my best shot was all on my very last game of Halo. When we graduated from high school, and I invited everybody, all my guy friends, and to spend the night for a few nights.
Mm-hmm.
You know, hey, bring a TV, bring an Xbox. We're gonna just play the hell out of
Big
Halo
LAN
3.
party.
Yeah, it was. We were the cool kids, obviously.
Yeah.
We were, like really popular. So we were all sitting.
Gotta look at the
We were
camera.
all we're all playing
we were
Halo.
all really popular. I didn't know it back
Yeah.
then.
See this? Amazing. So everybody set up, and we had too many people for a public game. So one person got on the other team. You'll remember him, Dalton. Remember? Yeah, he was on the enemy team. It was the snow map, one of the DLC ones, where with the two Covenant areas.
Yep.
Yeah,
I love that.
and the
map.
underground.
It was really good. Yeah.
So I picked up a beam rifle, and I still have this saved on the original, Halo 3 on my profile. And I looked over, I saw someone, and I pulled the trigger. There's only one person, but I got a double kill. And for the life of me, couldn't understand it until I hear Dalton screaming, "What the?" And he's like, "What? I spawned dead." And so when I went back into theater mode and found out, so it turns out, based off of this one shot, the beam rifle's beam lasts for 3 frames at, I believe, 30 frames per second. So 1/30th or 1/24th maybe of a second it exists. And it was one beam, so it shoots, it hits the first guy, and on the second frame he dies, but Dalton spawned head first into the beam, and then the third frame he dies, and then the beam goes away. So I got a double kill off of a single beam shot on someone who didn't even exist.
That's
and it was
awesome.
also my only perfection.
That's the best double
Yeah.
kill.
It was my best match because of the perfection, best kill because of the double kill, and my last match because I never really played Halo 3 on the original setup after that.
Yeah, I've seen a friend, one of our friends, Jordan. He actually got a double kill like that with the sniper rifle, the Marine sniper rifle, and just seeing the smoke trail. Because at this time, I think it was in the air that he got it in. They were both jumping, and he shot at the one guy, and you just see the smoke trail go through both of them, and he got the double kill. I was just like,
Love that.
dude. That's what I loved about the theater mode, because it was just like you get those shots and you can see like, oh my gosh,
Back before Xbox Record that existed, or the any like hitting the button and then tapping X or whatever.
Yeah. All right, I think we've gushed enough about Halo 3. Go
Okay.
ahead.
So, as previously mentioned, Halo 3 was the penultimate of multiplayer experience. The Forge mode, which I neglected to mention, where you could create your own map and do whatever, create the Halo experience you want to create, which spawned multiple popular game modes in future Halo video games and multiplayer series moving forward, as well as a theater mode where you could watch exactly what happened and you weren't sure about it. As Z had mentioned, before Xbox Record, that was a thing. A little bit late.
It's way before it was.
Oh, yeah.
It was a previous console.
So the next game on the list, Halo did try a few things that we weren't used to. If we know anything about Bungie, they wanted to innovate in all the ways possible. And someone somewhere along the lines had asked the question, what if Halo was Age of Empires? And then that's when we get Halo Wars, February 26, 2009. It right now has a 4 out of 5 on GameStop and a 92% user like rating for Google. It was a real-time strategy, and the first of the real-time strategy games to debut on the Xbox 360 console. This was unique in the sense that it was a different game type, a type of game that Halo was used to, and it featured a story of, Zach, correct me if I'm wrong, the Phantom of Regret. No,
Phantom of the Opera.
no, it was
I thought about it first.
a completely different ship, which focused on, I think it was Harvest.
This was around the time of Harvest, which in the Halo universe, Harvest fell, then Reach fell, and then they started heading towards Earth, but Master Chief went towards destroying Installation, I think 4, and then Halo 2 comes in where they discover Earth. But yeah, this one actually, Master Chief does make a cameo, except he's in a cryopod and they're like about to send him off towards Reach, I guess, or something like that. Or no, they're defending the ship. I think it was the Pillar of Autumn while they're trying to make their way to Reach at the very end, and then they go missing. But yeah.
Yeah, this one says it was set in the year 2531. It takes place 21 years prior to Halo Combat Evolved.
Yeah, and if you account for the time it takes for them to travel through space and stasis, and then the time they spend on Reach, it adds up.
Yeah.
No fond memories of this one, gentlemen?
Anybody else want to go first?
I've actually played this one for a little bit. I think I bought it. I don't remember if I borrowed it or if I bought it.
You might have borrowed it for me because I know I bought it.
I bought the steel book, or the steel case one.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I remember the steel case.
It was nice. I liked it.
Oh, speaking, Halo 3 came with the collector's edition, had the helmet.
Yeah,
That was one thing.
I
was really
really
cool.
regretted not being able to get that. I was a
want
poor
one?
high school kid.
You want one?
I want one.
we're gonna have to talk after this.
Because I actually acquired Matt's. I don't remember if I still have the other one.
I think you gave my brother one at some point.
Yeah, that was my third one.
Oh, yeah, then I want one.
I required.
Oh, look at you
I
over here.
acquired multiple helmets over the years.
You can give it to them. I'm good.
I'll have to.
What? You're not like super
I'm not interested.
aesthetic again?
No,
about
thank you.
Halo?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talking.
I have to get rid of my crap.
Yeah, that's fair. I still have the Halo sculpture for
Yeah.
Halo 4.
Yeah, I remember this game. It was pretty fun, 'cause especially coming from like StarCraft and some of those games. You know, it was a turn-based game. It was pretty fun for me. So
It was pretty fun. It reminded me of summer school freshman year in biology. I wasn't doing as good as I wanted to, so I decided to fail the class and just get the A in summer school. And so we had a bootleg copy of Halo 1 in the Blood Red Gulch, and that was the only map. Or you could play StarCraft. And so, like, during lunch, and it was a lot of fun. So I ended up buying it, enjoying it. But for the love of God, I told myself I would never look up, like, hints and stuff and strategies, but I could not defeat that game on Legendary.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't even think I got through it on Heroic. It just started getting too difficult.
yeah, I think I maybe completed like 4 of the levels, and I was
Yeah.
just like, yeah, I think I'm just.
Yeah,
It's difficult because, like, I mean, they did a really good job of incorporating that type of game with a controller, but as was mentioned earlier today, I don't know if it was this podcast, but the keyboard does have advantages when it comes to gaming if you can fully actualize it. Like, I'm terrible with the keyboard because I almost never use it. But yeah, unfortunately, it was pretty difficult, especially switching between bases. It's real-time strategy. It's not turn-based, so it's like everything's going on, and you got to try and send it's a lot, especially on the harder difficulties. And I am inferior to those of you who actually succeeded.
yeah, this is one. This is one that I also had. Probably the one you borrowed. I don't know, but it was like I've played Command and Conquer and the original Warcraft and stuff like that. So I was used to the RTS games.
Yeah.
But it was because it was console. It wasn't the same.
Yeah.
If it were on like a PC or something, it would be a different story. But it was like Zach said, it was just kind of bouncing back between bases. Trying to do it with a controller is completely different.
Yeah, you have to adopt an entirely different strategy, I found, as opposed to if you did it on PC. It was a lot of build and, like, try and build your stuff up so that way you can just push real quick on this objective without having to worry about it, and then just, it limited your ability to succeed.
Yeah.
Or at least from what I was able to come up with. But yeah, anybody else?
Hi.
That's your cue to continue.
Next on the list is Halo 3 ODST. Now, Halo Wars and Halo 3 ODST seemingly came out at the exact same time, and I think what Xbox wanted to do was test the waters to see if they can reach 2 different audiences. One that didn't exactly like the FPS type Halo, but wanted something a little different, and those who really wanted to continue with the story. And for a lot of Halo fans, Halo 3 ODST was one of the best stories that anyone at Bungie has ever released. The story followed a group of ODSTs stranded after the Covenant ship vessel that invaded Mombasa during the events of Halo 2, jump ship, and separated this unit. And you follow them as they try to find what was called an engineer. You later find out that it's an ally, even though you killed like hundreds of them, which was the joke in the game.
Depends on which challenge you went for.
And this was the first time where the story, you are not this big badass. You're human. And the game likes to remind you of this heavily throughout. It featured the first time you can actually free roam in the environment that you're in. So when you're playing as Rook, trying to figure out where all your squad mates are, you can unlock pieces of other stories.
Yeah.
One of my favorite was the audio logs when you're following the little girl around and he runs into the kebab man. Have a kebab. I love that. And this was the first time that a multiplayer was not featured in a Halo game.
Yes, it was.
There was a competitive mode, much like Gears of War's Horde mode, but Halo did it first.
Yeah.
In lieu of the
Multiplayer.
thank you. This was the first time Firefight was featured, and much like its predecessor, this was one of the first games, because I didn't mention this, but Halo 3s were the first games to feature 4-player cooperative play in a single-player campaign.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, because that was actually all 4 of us would play. We'd actually always have 4 people for these
For running
campaigns.
through
Yeah,
the
you
day.
have Master Chief first player, and then the Arbiter in his new armor second player, and then just 2 elites.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one was interesting. Like, so a lot of people didn't like it, like whether because no multiplayer. Which I mean, just go back to Halo 3. Come on, it was still great at the time.
Yeah, I mean, even then, it was still roaring.
Yeah. And then you got a new game type, which I've always enjoyed co-op against the PvE. So Firefight was a lot of fun. It was just hard getting the others, my other friends that were less interested in it to actually do it and not use up all the health packs.
Oh man,
because that
was always the thing I ran into was that these guys over here. I was always
These
the one
scrubs.
I was always the one that stayed back, and they were always the ones that
gung-ho.
The gung-ho. I'm just like, come on, guys, come on.
Right.
So, and this was actually, I think, the first time that you actually, I think, in the firefight, you can actually change your outfit. You weren't the Master Chief lookalike.
I think, if I remember correctly, you had the options basically to customize your armor with the other people's.
Yeah.
You
and then you can change your color like normal stuff.
Yeah, I think you could be Johnson in this one, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
You Johnson was an unlockable character.
Yeah. So they took a little bit of a flavor from Halo 3's armor customization for multiplayer that you can unlock generally through getting achievements like Hayabusa. You didn't have to get all the original 1,000 gamer score. You just had to get 1,000 in the game.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was pretty fun. I liked it.
Oh wait, that was Halo 3.
That was Halo 3, yeah.
That did the custom.
Hayabusa. That was for the katana on the back specifically.
Yeah, because I remember we all had that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, we did a
I
lot of those
grinded for
achievements. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
All right, next on the list. This is going to piss you off.
Arguably one of the best of the Halo
It's
series.
not featured in the article that's on your screen right now. And he didn't want me to bring it up, but I'm going to anyways. Was Halo 2600.
I thought we were going to do that as a special mention.
Fine, moving on. Halo Reach. Anyway, so Halo Reach was one of the first games to come to the Xbox One. No, I'm sorry.
No.
It stayed on the
This was
360.
the last one, but they eventually kind of ported it up.
Yeah, so this was one of the last games that Halo released for the Xbox 360, and this was one of this is one of the few Halo games that reaches my top 3 list. It followed you again, your personal character, through the story of the events of Covenant invading Reach. And the opening mission does this real spectacular thing of making you knew that this game was going to be involving the Covenant invading this planet. But it did this real interesting thing of the story arced itself in a way that maybe it wasn't, maybe for a split second you thought it could have been something else. But it just full on the whole story of Halo Reach, and it was you in that position. It made you important to the story, without like hitting it too much, without hitting the nail too hard on the head of you're going to be the hero of this story. 100% fully customizable Spartan. The multiplayer gets ramped up by 100 yet again. Theater mode, Forge mode comes out. Firefight makes its way in. All the Griff Ball, all of the infected modes. I mean, Halo Reach went from 0 to 60 like that when it came to introducing everything from the past Halos into one detailed game.
Yeah.
Even the species was fully customizable.
Yep.
And it all, in the sense of you are no longer, you can, the different styles of elites throughout the game, you can now choose to be one of those based on your level. Added a very advanced leveling system, very advanced competitive mode, and it offered a brand new game mode that featured that forever war between Covenant and humans, which was called Invasion. Step-by-step procedural. Actually, Call of Duty World War II stole this in their game, but you completed certain objectives to advance better armor, better weaponry, and everything else until you completed a series of objectives.
Yeah, I think I know I picked this one up too because this was actually the last one that Bungie made. And you can tell this was like their last hurrah for this series. And yeah, it was like fully packed everything we wanted over the years, just all mashed together. And I did love this game.
Yeah. I remember getting into the beta, and from the moment I touched boots, it was amazing. I knew I would love it, even if they didn't. It was just multiplayer on the map that it was like inside the sword building, and it had it was a lot of verticality, and you could sprint, different armor locks, or armor mods, armor abilities, whatever, and I just knew I was going to love it. The reticle system, I was like, oh, this actually makes sense. It's not so much that there's a penalty if you shoot too fast. There's a positive. There's like an increased efficiency if you shoot just right. So it's more accurate. You could shoot farther, better headshots. Because as I said, I love Team SWAT, so that was kind of something I focused on.
Well, and that was the other thing was I think they fixed a lot of the weapons that they nerfed in Halo 3. Because I remember in Halo 2, you run around with the SMGs and just freaking
dual needlers. You can take me down, but I will get you with me.
And so I think this one also, like I said, this was like the one that they were like, all right, we know we're going because of everything that Microsoft was doing. And like I was mad when Bungie left.
Yeah, like I had a lot of doubt about the project, which a lot of it has been fulfilled. Like there was a lot of things like, oh yeah, well we expected them to not really do the story as well, or we kind of expected them to like handle the enemy types bad. Yeah. Especially the jump to 4 to 5, like reach /3 to 4, a bit rough, but honestly there was a lot of aspects that were actually kind of interesting. Yeah, like the night system, how you take them down, how they like send out the Watcher or Guardian, I forgot what it's called. Like there was a lot of interesting aspects, a lot of bad aspects that I won't get into detail on Reach 4, but nonetheless, it was really disappointing. But this one. Yeah. This one took it to
you pretty much covered everything on it. This is the one that I actually picked up because I think my Xbox had the 360 that I had the Red Ring of Death for like the second time. And so I actually ended up buying the Halo Reach edition of the Xbox 360.
Nice.
Which I think I might still have in the garage.
I wish I got something like that. But yeah, this one was... If you count no sentimentality, purely based off of how it was when it came out, this is by far now my favorite Halo. And as I say, or I personally think it's the best Halo in that criteria.
Yeah.
I also featured a couple of things nobody really touched on other than the night vision and the night features and the armor abilities, but it featured assassination.
Yeah.
That's right. Where you get... Again, another video game franchise, Call of Duty, stole, but you actually, when you hardcore melee'd someone and they didn't see it coming, your Spartan took him down in a real fashionable way by driving his knife in anything.
Yeah.
And
you can customize that.
And even the elites had a version of the assassination as well.
Yep.
So we're going to go ahead and take our first anchor break, the service that we currently use to distribute the podcast to you. If you haven't already, I was going to have you turn up my phone because I do the music, yeah. We're still learning, folks. But yeah, go ahead and take this time, grab a drink, refill your refreshments, and click on the Linktree. It's going to take us a few minutes to get back to you. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break so you can listen to the Anchor ad and why we use this service. Anchor currently distributes to everywhere a podcast is being made or distributed, so make sure you click on the Linktree and find out where that's at. We'll be back in just a few minutes, folks, so give us just a handful of minutes. We'll be back.